The Story of Martin Luther King Jr. by Kitson Jazynka. Who was Martin Luther King Jr.? Can you imagine a world where laws kept black and white people apart? Where black children couldn't swim in the same pools as white children, or go to the same schools? A place where laws made it hard for black people to vote, or where a black person had to stand up on a bus so a white person could sit down. This world was real, and it happened in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. worked hard to change rules so they would be the same for whites and blacks. He didn't do it by fighting. He helped change unfair laws by making people think. He did it by making people feel. He did it with his words. Lots of black people and white people helped Dr. King protest those laws. This made many people angry because they didn't want change. But in the end, the protesters won, and the rules changed forever. Growing up. Dr. King was born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was named after his father. He was called ML. Small but strong, ML rode bikes with his brother and sister. ML's father was the minister of a church. He taught his children to stand up for what is right. He taught them to speak out against what is wrong. He taught them that all people deserve justice, which means that they should be treated fairly. When he was 6, ML's best friend told him that he was no longer allowed to play with ML. Why? Because ML was black and his friend was white. Segregation laws were meant to keep black people and white people apart. They kept kids apart, too. ML felt bad. Why wasn't he good enough to play with his friend? ML's mother told him he was just as good as anybody else, and she told him that the world was wrong. He wiped his tears. Then ML promised that one day he would change the world. A way with words. ML grew up listening to sermons in church. He learned how powerful words can be used to help people understand ideas. When ML was 14, he entered a speech contest. He put his anger about the unfairness of separate rules for white people and black people into words. He made people think. He made them feel. The judges loved his speech, and he won. On a bus ride home from the speech contest, the driver told ML and his teacher to give up their seats to white people. ML had to stand for 2 hours. He was mad, but he didn't say anything. He knew he could be arrested, hurt, or even killed if he did. A student of peace. ML worked hard in school. He finished college when he was 19 years old. He moved to the northeastern U.S. and continued in school. He wanted to be a minister like his father. In 1952, ML met Coretta Scott, and they fell in love. They got married and moved south to Alabama. There, ML worked as a minister. By 1955, he had gone as far as you can go in school. He had earned the title doctor. Now, he was Dr. King. Dr. King went all over the country, giving speeches. He talked about injustice and civil rights. He made people think. He made people feel. And he asked people to join him in protests for change. Blacks and whites marched together to protest bad laws. They went to places where only whites were allowed. A lot of them got arrested. Angry people called them names. Sometimes the marchers were hurt or even killed. Newspapers, television, and radio reported it all. People around the country were mad. They saw how bad it was to have separate rules. One person who saw what was going on was President John F. Kennedy. The president wanted to show that he agreed that rules should be the same for blacks and whites. So, he invited Dr. King to visit him at the White House. Dr. King's dream. It was August 28, 1963, in Washington, D.C. In the same city where our country makes its laws, a huge crowd of people, black and white, cheered. They had come to stand with Dr. King and protest bad laws. Everyone in the crowd wanted the same rules for white people and black people. Dr. King's voice boomed as he gave his most famous speech called "I Have a Dream." Dr. King's dream was for all people to be treated the same.
I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
His final years. The rules did change in 1964 and again in 1965. Laws were now the same for black people and white people, but not everyone followed the new rules right away. For the next several years, Dr. King and many others kept working. Dr. King gave speeches. He planned peaceful protests. He helped others. In 1968, Dr. King was in Memphis, Tennessee. He was helping black garbage collectors protest for better pay, but angry people still did not want change. A man with a gun assassinated Dr. King. Black and white people around the world were very sad. They had lost a man who made them think and feel. They had lost a man who helped make our world a better place with peace and justice. But Dr. King left us his words to remember him by.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.